Hello and welcome back. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to helping healthcare operations professionals take Lean Six Sigma off the shelf and actually use it at work. Before we get into today's content, I want to make sure you know about something. This video is part of the free training series available inside the Lean Six Sigma Accelerator community on School. The link is in the description below. It's completely free to join, and inside you'll find training, templates, live sessions, and a community of healthcare ops professionals who are doing exactly what you're doing, building their improvement skills while working full-time. Go grab the link after you watch. It takes about 2 minutes to join. Now, today we are talking about process flow maps, and I want to say this right up front. If you work in healthcare operations, you've been in this meeting. Someone draws a bunch of boxes and arrows on a whiteboard. People argue about whether a step belongs in the box or outside the box, and 45 minutes later, nothing is resolved. That is not a process flow map. That is a group argument with diagrams. Today, I'm going to show you what a real process flow map looks like from a white belt perspective. What it is, why it matters, how to build one from scratch, and which tools you can use to do it, including some completely free options and one method that doesn't require any software at all. Let's get into it. So let's start at the beginning. What is a process flow map? A process flow map, sometimes called a process flow chart or a flow diagram, is a visual representation of the sequence of steps in a process. It shows what happens, in what order, and who is responsible at each step. That's it. It is not complicated in concept. The complication comes from doing it accurately, because most healthcare processes are more complex than anyone realizes until they start drawing them. Here's why this matters from a Lean Six Sigma standpoint. In Lean Six Sigma, we have a principle. You cannot improve a process you cannot see. A process flow map makes the invisible visible. It takes something that lives in people's heads, usually differently in each person's head, and puts it on paper, so the whole team is looking at the same reality. At the white belt level, your role is foundational. You are not leading a full DMAIC project, but you are expected to observe, document, and contribute to improvement conversations on your unit or in your department. A process flow map is the most basic and most powerful tool you have for doing that, and I'll tell you what nobody tells you about this. When you walk into a conversation with a hand-drawn process flow of your current discharge process or your prior auth workflow, or your patient intake steps, you immediately stand out, because most people just talk about problems. You showed up with a picture of one. That is what Lean Six Sigma awareness looks like in practice. Now let's talk about what actually goes in a process flow map. At the white belt level, you're working with what we call a basic flow chart. You don't need swim lanes, you don't need a value stream map, you don't need a cross-functional diagram with 8 departments. You need the basics, and you need them right. Here are the 5 core elements. First, a defined start point. Every process has a trigger, the thing that kicks it off. In an ED setting, it might be patient arrives at triage. In a scheduling workflow, it might be referral received from ordering provider. Be specific. Patient arrives is not a start point. Patient presents to registration desk with chief complaint. That's a start point. Second, a defined endpoint. Same principle. What does done look like? Patient discharged is not an endpoint. Patient discharged with after-visit summary in hand and follow-up appointment scheduled. That's an endpoint. Vague endpoints create scope. Creep in your improvement projects every single time. Third, process steps. These are the boxes in your flowchart. Each box should represent one discrete action, written as a verb plus a noun. Verify insurance. Collect vitals. Document medication reconciliation. Keep each box to one action. If you find yourself writing "and" in a process step, split it into 2 boxes. Fourth, decision points. These are the diamonds in your flowchart. They represent a yes/no or if/, then branch in the process. Does the patient have a primary care provider on file? If yes, go this way. If no, go that way. Decision points are where most of the rework and delay hides in healthcare processes. Pay close attention when you find them. Fifth, flow arrows. These connect your steps in sequence. They show direction, they show branches at decision points, and they show where the process loops back, which in healthcare happens constantly. A loop back in a flow map is almost always a rework signal. That's the foundation. Start point, end point, process steps, decision points, and flow arrows. 5 elements. Build from there. Okay, now let's talk about how you actually build one. I want to walk you through a simple 3-step process that works whether you're using a sophisticated tool or a legal pad. Step 1. Walk the process before you draw it. This is the step most people skip, and it is the reason most process flow maps are wrong. Before you draw a single box, go watch the process happen. Talk to the people who do the work. Ask them, what's the first thing you do? Then what? What happens when this step doesn't go as planned? In Lean Six Sigma, we call this going to the Gemba, going to where the work actually happens. At the white belt level, this might just mean spending 30 minutes observing your own team's workflow and taking notes. That's enough to start. What you're going to find, and I promise you this, is that the process that should happen and the process that does happen are not the same thing. The gap between those two is where your improvement opportunity lives. Step 2. Draft in sequence, not in shape. Don't start by thinking about boxes and diamonds. Start by writing a numbered list. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. Get the sequence right first. Then figure out which steps are process steps and which are decision points. Then draw. This saves you from constantly redrawing as you realize you missed a step or put things in the wrong order. Step 3. Validate with someone who does the work. Once you have a draft, show it to a frontline colleague who lives inside that process and ask them one question. Is this what actually happens? Not, does this look right to you? Because people will say yes to that even when it's wrong. Ask them to walk you through it out loud, step by step. You will catch missing steps, wrong sequences, and decision points you didn't know existed. One validation conversation is worth 3 hours of independent drafting. Do not skip it. All right. This is the part a lot of people ask about. What tool should I use? The good news, you have options at every budget and every tech comfort level. Let me walk you through them. The industry standard, Microsoft Visio. If you're in a hospital system or health network, there's a good chance your organization already has Visio available through a Microsoft Enterprise license. Check with your IT department before you pay for anything else. Visio is the gold standard for professional process documentation. It has purpose-built flowchart shapes, swim lane templates, and the ability to connect shapes so that when you move a box, the arrows follow. If you're building process maps that will go into formal project documentation, tollgate presentations, or policy records, Visio is what leadership expects to see. The learning curve is moderate. If you've never used it, give yourself a couple of sessions to get comfortable. The payoff is worth it if you're doing this work regularly. Best for formal project documentation, cross-functional swim lane maps, anything going to senior leadership. Free option number 1, Lucidchart. Lucidchart is probably the closest free alternative to Visio for most people. The free tier gives you up to 3 active documents and access to all the basic flowchart shapes you need as a white belt. It runs in your browser, no software to install, and it's intuitive enough that most people can build a basic flowchart in their first session. It also has a drag-and-drop interface, pre-built templates for process flows, and you can share your diagrams with teammates for review without them needing a paid account. Best for getting started, collaborative review, browser-based work. Free tier limitations, 3 active documents. For most white belt projects, that's enough. Free option number 2, Draw.io, now Diagrams.net. Draw.io is completely free. No subscription, no account required. You can use it directly in your browser, save files to Google Drive or your local machine, and it supports all standard flowchart shapes. It is slightly less polished than Lucidchart in terms of interface, but the output is professional and it integrates well with Google Workspace. If your team runs on Google Drive, Draw.io is a strong choice because your maps live right next to your other documents. Best for budget of 0, Google Drive integration, offline use. Free option number 3, Miro, free tier. Miro started as a virtual whiteboard tool, but it has built out its flowchart capabilities significantly. The free tier gives you 3 editable boards, and it has flowchart shape libraries and templates available. What makes Miro different is the collaborative experience. If you want to build a process flow with your team in real time, on a Zoom call, in a hybrid meeting, Miro is the best tool for that. Multiple people can add, move, and comment on shapes simultaneously. It mimics the whiteboard experience, but in a way that doesn't get erased. Best for team-based mapping sessions, virtual collaboration, hybrid meetings. Zero software option, Microsoft Word or Google Docs. And now for the method nobody talks about, but that has gotten more things documented than every other tool on this list combined. You can build a perfectly functional process flow map in Microsoft Word or Google Docs using nothing but shapes and text boxes. Word has an insert greater than shapes menu. Google Docs has insert greater than drawing. Both give you rectangles, diamonds, and lines. Is it the most elegant? No. Is it shareable, printable, and readable by anyone with a computer? Absolutely. Here's how to do it quickly. Open a blank document in landscape orientation. Use insert greater than shapes to add rectangles for process steps and diamonds for decision points. Use arrows to connect them. Label everything. Save as PDF when you're done. For a white belt practitioner mapping their first process, or someone who needs to document something today and doesn't have time to learn a new tool, Word is a completely legitimate answer. Now, I want to tell you about something that is available exclusively for members of the Lean Six Sigma Accelerator community on School. If you join the free community, link is in the description, you get access to my AI Process Flow Prompt Pack. This is a guide I built that gives you ready-to-use prompts for Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini that will generate a structured as-is process flow map in minutes. You fill in your process details, paste the prompt into the AI tool of your choice, and you get back a complete, sequenced, step-by-step process map with VA and NVA classification already applied that you can then validate with your team and drop into Visio or Lucidchart. Think of it as your 80% draft in 5 minutes instead of 2 hours. The prompts are engineered specifically for healthcare operations processes. They use the right Lean Six Sigma terminology, they prompt the AI to flag decision points and rework loops, and they include follow-up prompts for refining the output, so you're not left with a generic table and a lot of questions. This is not available publicly. It's not for sale anywhere. It lives inside the school community, and it's free when you join. If you've been sitting on the idea of starting an improvement project and the process documentation piece felt like a wall, this pack removes that wall. Link is below. Go grab it. All right, let's wrap up. Here's what we covered today. A process flow map is a visual picture of how a process actually works. Start point, end point, process steps, decision points, and flow arrows. You build one by walking the process first, drafting in sequence, and validating with the people who do the work. For tools, Visio is the professional standard. Lucidchart and Draw.io are your best free digital options. Miro is best when you need to map with your team in real time, and Word or Google Docs works just fine when you need to document something today without learning a new tool. And if you want to do all of this faster using AI, join the school community and grab the AI Prompt Pack. The link is in the description. This is just the beginning. Process flow maps feed directly into your SIPOC, your value stream analysis, and your DMEC project documentation. So the time you invest in learning this skill pays forward into every improvement project you lead going forward. If this video was useful, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps more healthcare ops professionals find this content. Drop a comment below and tell me, what process in your department would you want to map first? I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next one.